Good morning. All right, it's 5:30. Oh, we got snacky time, kitty cat. Good kitten. Whew. All right, so it is midnight. I have the video encoding right now. How long have I even been awake? I definitely took a nap in between when I woke up and when I started editing. I'm afraid that like in the winter, when it gets really winter, my vlogs are just gonna be me like in bed eating cereal, binge watching shows, which hey, that sounds like fun to me. This is my life now. I wake up at 5 o'clock and I don't shower until midnight. Here we go. All right, so the vlog is up. I showered. It is 5 in the morning. So I haven't really recorded anything. What I've been doing is actually watching a lot of course videos on lynda.com. If you haven't checked out lynda.com, check out lynda.com. There's a lot of courses on there that have been constructed by professionals, and I think it costs money, but if you have a Seattle Public Library card, like I do, it's free. So I've been watching these videos to kind of help me teach myself what to do, because I still really don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, that's boring. Also, I mentioned an intro, like I was shooting for an intro. I still haven't looked through that footage. I will be looking through that footage. This is all boring stuff to be recording through, so I'm not doing that. Basically, I'm gonna be leaving. I am sparing you having to watch me do this. It is also pretty late, and I am trying to get back onto like a normal type sleeping schedule. You know, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm going to bid adieu to you guys. But before I do that, I can't leave you hanging, right? I'm gonna be reading, so I brought water here in case I need. I'm gonna try to do this in one take also. I'm gonna be really annoyed if I can't. So it is October, and I have not actually really mentioned much of October, but I do like Halloween, and Halloween is coming up. I have a costume. Well, I know what I want to be. I don't have the full costume. Basically, I'm going to be a clown, but not like one of those American Horror Story clowns or like It or whatever, Pennywise or Dollar Smart or whatever his name is. I'm going to be a traditional hunky. You've seen the glasses, right? I'll be wearing those glasses with the hunky nose and telling crappy jokes all night. So, I mean, perfect, right? I will be annoying everyone. So if you are in Seattle or West Seattle and you want to hear some crappy jokes, find me. We'll save the Halloween costume for another vlog. This vlog, I wanted to share with you a poem. It's a longer poem. This is the Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Writings. What I'm going to do is read a poem here for you. And actually I was thinking, originally I wanted to read a short story, but I don't know how long it will take me. So I will actually be reading, like on the cover, the Raven. Before that though, I wanted to share some information with you about Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm gonna save you a lot of sordid details here. Basically, Edgar Allan Poe was born in 1809 in January in Boston, Massachusetts. He died, I believe, in Maryland in 1845, and nobody really knows how or why he died. He went missing. They found him wearing not his clothes, and he was delusional in this bar. They took him to the hospital and he died like a couple days later. So nobody really knows why or how he died. That's another horror story. His mom passed away when he was 2 years old, and his father ended up abandoning him. So he was adopted. I don't know if he was full-on adopted, but he was taken into foster care by the Allan family. He started writing when he was 13, and he was very adamant and diligent about his writing. During his lifetime, Edgar Allan Poe never actually made much money off of his writing. His primary occupation, even though he wanted to be a writer known for these stories, his primary occupation was a literary critic. So The Raven, what I am going to read to you here in like 40 seconds. All right, maybe a minute and a half. The Raven was published in 1845, and it was his first like breakthrough. He was well known after The Raven, but The Raven came out in 1845 and he died in 1849, so he didn't really get to live very much of his literary infamy. Edgar Allan Poe kind of started the detective fiction with his story Murders in the Rue Morgue. Once he wrote that, others followed with his detective fiction, and yeah, that's Edgar Allan Poe. I know I gave his bio a little jumbled. He lived, he died, and then he did this stuff. But yeah, that's the gist of Edgar Allan Poe without getting into the sordid details, because there's always sordid details when you're dealing with literary history. Anyways, I'm going to attempt to read The Raven in one take. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, "only this and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. That it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what the thread is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's plutonium shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour, nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking that this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee by these angels, he hath sent thee respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by Homer haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upon the starting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. All right, well, that was the raven. Who is Lenore? So Lenore is just thought to be a deceased wife. Not Poe's deceased wife, because she passed in 47. This poem came out in 45. So it's purely, fictitious. So what else was I gonna bring up? Oh, seraphim. So Poe says, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee. A seraphim is, in Christianity, it's in the hierarchy of angels, seraphims are at the top. So you have the lesser footed angels like Gabriel or Michael or Joshua. Those are lower down on the angel hierarchy tier. Seraphims are high up, and they actually care for God's throne. Just in case you wanted to know about seraphims and Christianity. The other thing was, is there balm in Gilead? Balm. I may not have enunciated it to its full proper potential because, well, I haven't actually done a lot of reading out loud in a long time, and I love reading out loud, so don't worry, I'll be reading out loud a lot more. He writes, is there balm in Gilead? It goes back to the Bible. Apparently there is a balm written in the Old Testament that is supposed to heal Israel, sinners in general. So he's asking to be healed. So he's looking to angels. He's looking for healing. There's one more. Yeah, nepenthe. So he says, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories. Nepenthe is in Homer's Odyssey. He actually does say something about Homer in this poem. And nepenthes in Homer's Odyssey helps to rid of grief or sorrow, deep sorrow or grief. So it's a medicinal plant. It's from an old world plant from ancient Egypt, but I believe that it was first mentioned in literature in Homer's Odyssey. So we got seraphim, we got nepenthe, and we got the balm in Gilead. So two biblical, I guess, you know, nepenthe could be biblical too because it was ancient Egypt. So we got yeah, some biblical references there. Christianity, angels. Cool. Alright, so as I had mentioned, I'm gonna get back to the lynda.com thing. I'm also gonna get into that footage for the intro because I still actually have not had a chance to look at it. So I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to listen to the song. James has sent me a demo, and I'm going to see if I can make some stuff match up. And then if not, I might have to do another shoot, which I actually think I might have to do another shoot, which is all right. It'll be fun, as long as the weather cooperates with me. So I'm going to get to that stuff. And in order for me to do that, I gotta say goodbye. I just wanted to thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, do whatever you're doing, playing along. I appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Good morning, Mo Clips. Hi, Mo Clips. Hi, Mo Clips. Hi, kitten. Mo Clips, could you show some more appreciation that I'm home? Thank you, Mo Clips. Ow. Okay.